Okay, yeah, so yeah, we'll just fire ahead then.
Okay.
I'll just get the questions out. So.
No worries.
Okay, so do you want to say your name for the camera, please?
My name's Jordan Evan.
My name's Owen Dorgan.
Great. Just want to ask you a few questions about televised sport. So basically, we're looking at televised sport for well-being. So I just want to ask you a quick question there. So do you watch televised sport?
Yeah, whenever I can. Like, usually because of like life getting in the way and stuff, like once or twice a week. But if life wasn't in the way, I'd probably just like
Watch more.
watch a bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd watch a lot of televised sport. I suppose probably sport's the number one thing that I'd be watching on TV at home. Like I wouldn't really watch much traditional TV programs or things like the news. So any time I'm spent watching the TV, it's usually predominantly sports of all kind.
Where do you usually watch?
Usually at home, but sometimes I'd go out with some friends to like local pub or up at their house and watch sports there. It may mainly be football or rugby in that regard, but usually some bits like boxing or professional wrestling because it's on so early in the morning.
Yeah.
Probably just watching it like at home.
I suppose when it comes to Liverpool, which would be my favourite team and the sport that I watch the most, it would probably always be at home. I just don't with my dad and my brother because that's what I'm kind of comfortable with. And then when it comes to other sports, like the darts, I kind of like meeting up with a couple of other people because you kind of get the atmosphere. Like darts is a real atmospheric sport, so you kind of have your few drinks and you might have them in the pub or in someone else's house as a group together.
Do you think there's like a difference when you're watching televised sport by yourself versus with other people?
I think so. I think when I'm around more people watching the game or even just talking about like game that happened the night before that like we watched separately, I feel like a lot more kind of into it. Like a lot more kind of talk with people about it, express emotions, based around the game. It's when I'm by myself, it kind of feels more like I guess, secluded kind of thing.
Yeah, so for me, it would be the main difference really would be the controllables in terms of like I'd be very passionate about watching Liverpool, so I don't want things like people walking across the TV or chatting aimlessly. Kind of, if you're with people who mightn't be as interested in the match or have as much of a passion about the team that's on TV. And then if I'm going out to a pub or to a friend's house or something for a match or any sporting event, before you go there you kind of know that you're not going to be giving your full and undivided attention to the match at hand because you're going to be having a chat to the lads you haven't seen in a while.
Do you think that it's a good way to keep up with old friends?
Yeah. Like I think a lot of my old friends, especially from like secondary school, you go to different colleges, you go down different life paths. I think with watching sport, it's kind of a good way to bring everything back. And like I said, text a friend, do you want to head to local pub and watch a game? And then from that, you're able to kind of have that mutual interest in the game and then kind of catch up with how things have been and what kind of way your life has kind of gone down.
I'd 100% agree with that. Like I'd find myself linking in with kind of guys that I wouldn't be regularly in contact with, but it's always a great way to a great icebreaker, a great excuse to meet up with them. So you're like when you meet up, when you get talking to someone, you might meet them in the street that you haven't seen in a while. If they're into sport, it's always a good way to connect with them. You might say like, do you want to meet up on Friday and watch that match, or do you want to sit down on Saturday and watch the race or the darts for the day?
Have you made friends through watching sports?
Yeah, I've made a couple. I think with a lot of friends, that kind of mutual interest in sport is kind of already there.
Yeah.
But because if they invite some of their friends to a game that you're watching with them, you get to like know them through that sport then, and then that kind of transition then again talking about your life, talking about like interests, likes, dislikes, all that kind of thing. So I think it's a good kind of way to broach a conversation and actually get to know someone a bit like better and a bit deeper.
True. Yeah.
I wouldn't say so much made friends, but I've definitely oftentimes linked in with the guys around you just over the sport, and that wouldn't, in my opinion, I never would have done that if there was no match on the TV or if there was no sports on. There's a minimal enough chance that I would have started talking to them.
Would you ever go online to like either look at things to do with televised sport or talk to people online or?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't really talk with people online, but definitely social media is kind of a good way to kind of keep up to date with what's going on.
Yeah.
Like if you follow a certain team, you can follow like a fan account and just keep up to date with everything.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of, say, certain professional wrestler, you can either find their page or like a fan page. You go to date exclusively with them. And obviously people have their opinions on there as well. I wouldn't really express them, but I'd be flicking through it to go like, oh, this is what this person says. Or
Yeah, I'd be, I suppose, not so much active in tweeting and stuff like that, but I'd definitely be on Twitter a lot before, during and after the match to look at the latest reaction, get the team news, kind of message your friends. Twitter will be the main one now when it comes to football because it's such a unique way to get instant news kind of now and also connect with these other Liverpool fans. So yeah, I'd use social media and the internet like a lot when it comes to sports and finding out the latest results, the latest news and injuries.
Well, do you think it's like a good thing that's happened that people are able to, talk online about, or
I think there'd be positives and negatives
Yeah.
to us, as with everything in life, to be honest. But I think positives obviously allows a lot of fans to kind of connect that wouldn't necessarily go to the games. I think obviously a bad side of that, obviously online everyone has an opinion, so it can lend to kind of some more kind of harsh, negative, hurtful opinions being spread online as well. Because at the end of the day, watching sport's fun. As I said, it's an escape. It's a way to just forget about your problems for a little bit. So if people are trying to bring problems into that, then that's not good.
do you think watching televised sport is important for the community?
Yeah, I think so. Sport is kind of a good way to kind of bring people together and kind of talk through the sport of things that would be kind of important in life and then also in the context of that sport then as well.
100%, yeah. I think it's a great way to, if I didn't watch sports with some of my friends and family, I don't know what I'd spend my evenings or weekends doing. I'd probably just be sitting around looking at the wall. It's a great way. I spend nearly every weekend watching sports with friends and family, so it's a huge part of my life. And I oftentimes think that households that aren't hugely invested in sports, I just don't know what they'd be doing with all the free time they'd be having on the weekends.
And do you think there are any negative impacts on society?
I don't think so much negative. I suppose maybe something that will come to mind in my life will be that I don't know if this is a bad thing, but possibly overcommitted or overpassionate, that you're giving up, you have to be free at X time on each weekend to watch Liverpool, say in my case, and that if the outcome of the match isn't favourable for yourself, it might put you down for a few hours or a day or two, which I suppose is a negative. But I think, in my eyes, I don't think it's negative, because it's something to be emotionally invested in and kind of give your passion or give your energy and your time to.
So you think it's a big part of your life?
Yeah, absolutely. I think another big aspect of it as well is just it's been kind of surrounding me my whole life.
Yeah, okay.
So it has been a big part. My mum obviously brought me up watching live sports. Then my sister, then we kind of got involved in it. Then we still just talk about how much of a positive impact it has on both of us and also just everyone at large. Then
That's all my questions, anyways. Brilliant.
Boss.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Great.
boss.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Perfect.
Great. Yeah.